A major issue we have with the conventional timeline we use today for biblical and archaeological research is with the advent of certain documents. I have no problem with the advent. I think the introduction of the King James Bible was one of the greatest things history has ever known. In fact, it was the first mass-produced book in the world. I ask you, in the early 1600s, 1611, 1613, when they started printing the King James Bible, the first mass-produced book in the world, the first book printed on the printing press, how high do you think the literacy rate was in America and the world? It was probably pretty low. Actually, there was no America in the 1600s. The rest of the world, though, the literacy rate was extremely low. There were no mass-produced books because the first King James is the first one. Here's a unique idea that we need to get our head around. By 1650, within 40 years of the King James Bible being launched into a mostly illiterate society, a timeline was purported by a seminarian. This gentleman spent 25 years of his life, as I've read, and spoke 5, 6, 7 languages in order to put this timeline together. He developed a timeline and launched it in and around 1650. He taught it at seminary at a day and time when you were not allowed to question your elders. He taught, they received, they went out into society teaching the timelines and concepts they were given when the King James Bible was only 40 years old. The unique idea of this that we need to begin to understand is the modern science of archaeology was not founded for another 150 years. The church itself may have taught a timeline theory for 5 generations or 150 years before anyone went out and looked, before anyone went out and did academic study. Further to this, early archaeology was clouded with gold diggers, thieves, and robbers. There were probably some respected people in there, but just names don't come to mind. Academic archaeology, from many perspectives, began in the early 1900s, and the science itself, in theory, is less than 100 years old. The timeline we use is 400 years old, almost. Do we see a problem here? We had a theory, we had a doctrine, we had entrenchment before we went and looked.